Hello friends and potential friends. I've had a hankering for jalapeno poppers for a while now, so the last time I braved the outside world and made another grocery store run, I picked up some ingredients, so I figured I could put these things together. Full disclosure, I've never made these before. I sat and watched a few YouTube videos this morning to see different techniques of how people do them. Some people cook them in a frying pan with oil, some put them in the oven, some do both. Brown them in the frying pan and then put them in the oven. I'm going to go with the straight oven method and see how that turns out. As you can see, I've got 15 jalapenos, good sized jalapenos. Be honest, these came from the grocery store. Main reason they came from the grocery store is this is the size that came out of my garden. Compared to that, there's just no comparison. I'm going to use these ones. I've also got a couple of blocks of cream cheese coming to room temperature. I've got some cheddar cheese and some Monterey Jack. I'm going to shred up a little bit. Some of the cilantro that I grew this last year. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I saw one video that they put just a little bit of paprika in them, so I'm going to put a little bit of paprika too. I don't have any breadcrumbs, so I'm going to put them in cornmeal. And I may mix a little bit of the all-purpose flour into the cornmeal. And I've got a couple eggs over here. I'm going to make an egg bath so it'll help everything stick. And one of the garlics I grew this last year. I'm happy I actually got some garlic bulbs this year. First thing, whenever I start dealing with any kind of hot peppers, jalapenos on up, I'm going to put a glove on because I've already learned that lesson and I don't want to learn it again. Now, one of the tricks that I saw this morning is to be real careful when you cut the top off that you don't completely cut through the end. That way you'll have a little bit of an end up to it to keep all the stuffings where it's supposed to stay. Slice it in half. And I'm going to carefully cut this end so that I keep that end intact and remove as much of the pith and the seeds as possible. Now I'm going to be saving these seeds. I know saving grocery store seeds is not a good idea, but that's going to be an experiment for next year to see if these seeds will breed true and maybe give me some larger jalapenos next year. So stay tuned for that experiment. That's going to be in about a year. So get all these seeds out of here. And there, I've got a couple of nice little boats. Fill up with whatever stuffing I wind up creating. Now I have to do that 14 more times. You don't need to see every one of them, so I'll pause this for a little bit. Be back with you. Okay, got all the peppers chopped up, cut in half, most of the seeds out of them. Not quite all, but I guess that's not a big deal. As you can see, I got a lot of seeds out of them peppers. I won't plan on sharing these with anybody because they're just grocery store peppers, though my buddy up the street will probably want a few of them regardless. Now I need to get on to the next step. I've got to shred up some cheese, chop up the cilantro a little bit better, and crush and chop up the garlic, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to start mixing ingredients again. Okay, I've got the cheese shredded up. That's about a cup mix of Monterey Jack and sharp cheddar. Chopped up the cilantro a little bit and put about a half a teaspoon of salt in it. Got the garlic all minced up, and I'm going to cheat and use the technology. First I'm going to put the cream cheese in there, add in the cheese, add in the cilantro and the salt, add in the garlic, a little bit of pepper to taste. I don't know how you can tell whether it's going to taste the way you want it. And one of the videos I watched added a little bit of paprika. I'm going to do the same, just a little bit. Put that down there and let it start cranking. I mean, I got the technology, I might as well use it. And that's getting pretty well mixed, so take it apart and get on to the next step, which means I have to reposition the camera again, so I'll bring you right back. Okay, this is the part that makes me the most nervous, mainly because I've got to pick each and every one of these things up, and I'm not going to use the gloves to do it. So if you see any sweat dripping, just ignore it. I'm not going to try to wipe the sweat out of my eyes while I'm doing this. I know what that'll do. Now, everybody that I watched this morning emphasized that you don't want to fill these things over full. Don't need it heaping out of there. Just want to get them nice and even. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll be moving them around again because I'm still going to have to mix up some breading to put on. But for now, I'm going to just be filling these little boots with the filling. I want to make sure I get it in there good, but I don't want too much. Don't want messes either, so ignore that. In fact, since I'm going to be making messes and you don't need to watch me fill every one of these, I'll go ahead and pause the camera and I'll bring you back when I'm getting ready for the next step. Okay, now the breading. I decided against putting any all-purpose flour in here because that's some pretty nice cornmeal. Grocery store stuff. I've got an egg wash here, and I'm just going to take each jalapeno pepper and put it in the, may not even need the egg wash. Let's see what it does when I use it. Make sure I cover it good with the breading and put it on the plate. On to the next one. That's working out pretty good. You don't need to watch me do all of these, so I'll bring you back when I'm ready to put them in the oven. Okay, I've got the peppers breaded up. I found that I did use the egg wash because that was the only way I could get that cornmeal to stick to the peppers themselves. It wouldn't have been a problem on the topping, but it didn't want to stick to the peppers. So I've got my oven preheated to 375, which in my oven actually means 350. I'm kind of on my own here. I saw 350, I saw 400, so I'm just kind of winging it. So let me go ahead and put these in the oven. Middle rack. Got my timer set to 15 minutes, so I'll come back and check on them in 15 minutes, see how well they're doing. And when I have something more worth looking at, I'll bring y'all back. Okay, timer just went off for the second time, to be honest. And let's see what we got here. That doesn't look too bad as a first attempt. Now, I checked them at 15 minutes and it wasn't doing much at all. You could tell that the peppers were cooking. I could smell them. But I wanted them a little bit brown, so I put them for another 15 minutes. And they still weren't real brown. So, I put them back in the oven. I put it on broiler for about 5 minutes. And that browned them up pretty nicely. I did see some of the videos where they would put them in the oven upside down for about 10 minutes. And then turn them over and cook them for another 10 or 15 minutes. They obviously had a different oven than I did, but those look pretty good. Now I'm going to let those cool for a few minutes before I do a taste test because I saw some of that cheese starting to bubble out of some of them, and I don't really want to go burning my mouth on a video. So I'll bring you back for a taste test in a few minutes. Okay, they've been cooling for about 5 minutes or so. Hopefully that'll be enough. Holding together pretty good. Feels like the cheese is still a little bit melted inside, so this might still be kind of hot, but I can't wait any longer. I want to see if they're edible. That's got a good flavor to it. I like the way that stuffing turned out. Still a little bit of heat in the jalapenos. But yeah, those are edible. Yep, I'm going to consider that a success for the first time. Give this a try if you want to. I'm not sure about the cornbread or the cornmeal. Next time I think I'll try make some kind of regular breading. But for a first try, this turned out pretty good. I'll see you on the next video.